Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video are 10 products in the beauty realm that I no longer buy anymore. And I saw ANDREA Matillano, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've been following her for years. Kelly Gooch and I was going to say Jam Beauty 89, but what's her channel name now? I'll put it up on the screen or else I'll put it down below. But I saw these three lovely YouTubers do this video. I know it's been circulating on the YouTube for a long time and I found it really educational, if that makes sense, for myself to apply and see what the story is for me. So if you're interested in seeing the 10 products that I don't buy anymore or something like that, then just keep watching. So the first category I no longer buy are big, massive palettes, and that is, this palette is absolutely beautiful. This is just an example, but it's from Violet Voss. It's stunning, isn't it? Beautiful, but the way I store my products, I like to be able to see them. So this has to have half a drawer by itself, like the back of the drawer for itself, because it doesn't stand upright. So now, in relation to this palette, I would use majority of the shades, but in relation to most big, massive palettes, I don't need all of the shades that are in. I don't need any of the shades, let's be real, but they're not all of the shades that I'm going to be hugely interested in. I did buy an eBay one when I was starting out in makeup and I panned that for like 2 years, but I don't buy the Morphe ones. I don't buy anything big and I just don't want to anymore now. This is the only one I have and that is it. The next thing that I don't buy anymore are whole collections. Now, to be real, I didn't always buy whole collections, but I was always FOMO or always wanting whole collections, particularly the Naked range. It was just an example that comes to mind is the Urban Decay Naked palette. And I got the first one and it was so hyped and oh my God, was it hyped, and I fell into it. Then when I was finally working and I could save towards a palette, I was saved up and I bought the Naked 3, which I really do like. However, I was then like, will I save up and buy the Naked 2? So I have a whole collection, and that is ridiculous because I didn't like the Naked 2. The color story didn't speak to me personally at that time. So I've gotten out of that mentality now where Colourpop monochromatic palettes is the most recent one where I was really drawn in. But no, I don't do that anymore. I will only buy the palette that I personally want if my finances can afford it and if I don't necessarily have those colors. I'm not always good at that, but that's what I'm like now. The third category are, I wrote this down because I was trying to make my lips, popular or hyped products that other people are pushing even if I don't like the color story. So if stuff is really hyped, mainly on YouTube because that's the only place I see it, I used to get so sucked into the hype, and if I saw a color story that I didn't even really like, I went out of my way and bought it. There's something I don't know about. Even though the color story, I thought it was lovely, but it was like, is this worth paying for, waiting 2 months for it to get to Ireland and paying customs? Like, I knew I owned most of these shades elsewhere in my collection, and yet and all, I was completely and utterly sucked into the hype and I bought it anyway. The next one is a personal one, and I used to get like color corrector like sets, like in a little set, even though I only ever really used the peach one for under my eyes. Now this depends on your own personal skin, but I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not using that extra step. I'm not buying them anymore. I don't use them. I force myself to use them in Project Pan. I do have red on my skin without makeup in areas. I do get pimples. Like, I get it all, yourself. I do have a red kind of pretty much nearly everywhere. However, I could wear a heavier coverage foundation or whatever, but me personally, it's an extra step. I've never worn the green one. It was always the peachy one. So I'm not buying them anymore. I haven't bought them. I've used up the 2 that I had, and I thought that I would repurchase, but I haven't, and I've been happy enough. So I'm not buying them anymore. The next one are makeup wipes. So when I was younger, I used to go into Penneys or Primark and buy 2 big pouches of makeup wipes for $1.50. And that was like a must have. And it was kind of a once use and in the bin. And I don't know, is it because my skin is so sensitive, but it always still felt dirty afterwards and like really raw and sensitive. It kind of felt like I was putting a baby wipe on me. And I just personally found it wasteful that I was just using things once and throwing them away. I don't know, it just didn't, it suited me at the time, but I just don't do it anymore. I do my skincare kind of just, you know yourself, I have those little microfiber cloths or whatever. The next thing is actually recent, very, very recent for me, and I didn't realize it, as I said, till recently, and it's blinding highlighters. Blinding. I say now as I have a blinding highlight on, but I mean in terms of new products that I purchase. So I used to absolutely adore blinding highlights, and I was in work one day a couple of months ago, and I had it on and I was actually self-conscious, and I was like, why? I actually felt self-conscious. I don't know why that is. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong, just myself, my own experience. I felt kind of paranoid that I was sticking out or something like that. And so I kept, when I was getting ready for work, opt for a highlighter, but just not bam in your face. So I do like them sometimes, but definitely not in work, as I've learned. I've kind of just stopped being comfortable with purchasing really, 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 really out there highlighters. I still like them, but not just something I seem to be going away from. The next one is actually backups. I've worked the last 4 years-ish to project pan and curate my collection. I'm not a minimalist by any means. Some categories of my collection maybe I would be perceived as a minimalist, and others not at all. But the only category that I generally will have a backup of is a mascara. I'm happy with having 1 or 2, 3 at most, only 1 open at a time. However, I used to just recently did a declutter, and I had 2 of the same bronzer, and it was a Makeup Revolution baked one, and as most of you probably know, baked products take forever. And when I used up the dome, I went and I bought a backup, and I still hadn't used the product, and I never did finish it. So I now know how long products take to use, and I do not buy backups with the exception of mascara. The next one is false eyelashes. So when I was younger, I'm gonna say in my early, between 18 and like 25, I used to buy fake eyelashes in Penneys or Primark like there was no tomorrow. And I have hooded eyes and they're small, so I always had to cut the edge off them. And I love them, but I'm so lazy. I never wear them. I have 2 fake eyelashes. One, I still have not used, and I probably have it for 3 years. The second I got very, very recently, and they're a magnetic pair that you use with a eyeliner, and I have not used it yet because I thought perhaps that will make me wear them, but I just don't wear them. I love them, I'm just way too lazy. So no, I don't buy them anymore. This next one I haven't bought for a couple of years, and it is, you know, palettes with like face, cheek products in it and eyeshadows. I used to get them when I started out. My collection was very, very small. I had no interest in growing my collection, and I never had an interest in growing my collection. What happened was I had an interest in loads of products, and the result of that was that my collection grew. But at the time I didn't have like many products, and I used to be drawn to products that had cheek and eye products in them. Then I would realize that maybe the blush was either too dark for me, or the bronzer was too dark for me, or something like that, where it just didn't work out, and I would never use it. Like I literally would never use them. So I'm not drawn to them at all. I haven't come across anything that has caught my eye in that world. I know that'd be handy for travel, if you get what I mean. Like if you do your makeup at work, if you're going to your parents' house, or you're going somewhere like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be on holidays, but something handy for putting in your bag. I'm still not drawn to it. I have no intention of buying them again. Personally, I have 11 on my list, and I'm like, will I do 10 and 1 bonus? I'll say the 10th product will be products I would use less than 90% of. I don't know if I phrased that correctly, but I would buy an eyeshadow palette back then if I saw a couple of shades that were like, oh my God, I love you, I want you, I need you. And I would actively save for this particular product. There's absolutely nothing, like, it's just how you grow, you know? And I would buy it, and then I wasn't panning at the time, so I didn't really know, and I would never use half the palette, and it's just, now to me is wasteful for me. I just find it wasteful. So now my rule is, if there's 12 eyeshadows, you'd at least use 10 of them. Do you know what I mean? The majority of, like, if not all. And then the bonus product is a stain, like a liquid cheek and lip stain. Do you know the Benetint? Is that the one that everyone probably knows the most about? and it comes in a nail varnish type tube with a nail varnish brush, and you put it on. So my skin was predominantly oily. It's going through some things the last couple of years where it changes depending on the season. Like most of the year my face is oily. Around January my forehead, for a good few months, my forehead gets so dry and the rest of my face is oily. So I don't know what you would call that, but anyway, it's predominantly oily. And when I put them on, they just don't sit. They just move everywhere. Lip tints, I don't know what I was doing. I would buy them and I would not wear them because I didn't like them on my lips. And I was so new to makeup, but I didn't know how to do anything. Like, I was learning, and I feel like I've learned more what I like now. They just didn't suit me, so I'm not buying them anymore. Who am I trying to kid? I don't like them on me. I'm not buying them. They fall off my face. I don't know. I just don't enjoy them. I'm not drawn to them. However, I do like a good old cream blush, but those very watery ones, you know, the ones that are just pure liquid, I don't like them on me at all. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, that's great, thank you. Is there any products that you don't buy anymore in lifestyle or beauty? I find in lifestyle there's quite a lot, but in relation to any of those, is there anything that you don't buy anymore that you used to buy, or you look back on and you're like, what was I doing, or why was I doing that? I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you the next time. Take care. Bye.